Alright, hey, what's going on guys? Sam here, back again with another video, and today I'm going to be going through and showing you guys all the new dynamic duos that they added into NBA 2K21 today. And there's 20 new duos, as you can see here, and just quickly before we get into that, I'm going to show you just quickly a feature that's in the game that some people just aren't aware about, and people were asking me a bunch of questions when I was doing this on stream today. So I'm just going to show you, quickly go over to your collections, and you can do this for future reference obviously as well. And what you want to do is go to the search feature, put this on players, and then scroll all the way down here to dynamic duo and put on duos only. Now this will only work for the cards that you have in your collection, but it is helpful to see like, oh, these cards right here have dynamic duos, and it might seem like a simple feature, but some people just don't know about it. And if you do hit L3, if you're on PlayStation, you can see the duos of cards, and if you scroll down with the left and right analog, depending on if it's on the left or right side, for this time it's Iguodala, scroll all the way down, you can see all of the boosts for these cards. So just a feature I want to make sure you guys are aware of going into the future, just because I got this question a lot today. But going back over to 2KDB.com, just because it's going to be a lot easier to look at the duos this way, you will see that we got 20 dynamic duos today. And I'm going to put the link to this website and this exact page in the description or in the comments below. So if you want to go check this out yourself, you can. Or you can use the feature I showed you in game. But either way, it's nice to look at these cards and the boost they get without having to buy the cards themselves. So I'm gonna go through probably all of them, just because there's only 20 and it's not gonna take that long. And to be honest, the boosts aren't the craziest in the world. Some are better than others, and I'll tell you guys at the end probably the best ones that I think are in the game. So click here on the check mark. We get the dynamic duo. It's Allen Houston and Bill Lamar. And Bill Lamar was a beast early on in the year, kind of slow, but you know, if you're a budget baller and both those cards are really cheap, I know they're cheap now. Allen Houston's a great shooter still. I still have Allen Houston. He's that good. Not in my starting lineup, or not in my main squad, but still a good card. And he just gets some shooting boosts. Interior defense goes up. Defensive consistency is pretty nice. And if you can find a glitched Allen Houston with the clamps badge on him in the game, this card would probably be pretty good, especially with the duo. Now, looking at Bill Lamar, he doesn't get a speed boost, and I will mention this right away. None of these cards today get badges added. Last year in 2K20, dynamic duos would add badges, and they probably still will this year, but as of right now, and from what I've seen, none of these cards get any badge upgrades when duoing them together. It's kind of hard to say that, but Bill Lamar, interior defense and offensive rebound, defensive rebounding, defensive consistency, no badges upgraded. So not a terrible duo. Gonna go back onto the next one here. Actually, I probably won't go through all these. Bradley Beal and Otto Porter, I mean, it's for budget ballers, I guess. But I'm gonna go through the best budget baller ones in my opinion after we get through the main ones here. So I know a lot of people want to see the Kobe and Lamar Odom duo, so click on this here. Lamar Odom has been cheap recently with the super packs. Now they're gone now, but Lamar Odom, you could definitely still sizing him up probably for under 100k MT. And surprisingly, this doesn't give a 3-point boost to Kobe, but it does give him ball control, driving layup, and a mid-range. So it's nothing too crazy for Kobe. For Lamar Odom though, he gets a decent boost to his 3-pointer mid-range. I love this card already. I had to get him for the XP challenges, and great release. I love him. I think he has the LaMarcus Aldridge, jump shot. So definitely a good card. Gets an offensive rebounding boost, a total of 24 attributes. Definitely an expensive dynamic duo, but a cool one at the same time. You can use the Black Mamba and Lamar Odom at the same time. And again, I just really like that Lamar Odom card. But moving on to the next main one that people probably want to see, it's the Magic Johnson James Worthy duo. And this duo, when I first saw it, I didn't know what stats he would get. I was kind of scared for a second, because this Magic Johnson was pretty cheap. He's probably gone up in price because of this dynamic duo. But I'm like, oh man, if they add clamps and quick first step to this Magic, it's going to be over. But like I said, there's no badge additions, or there's no added badges with dynamic duos, at least this drop. So all Magic gets is a +4 to 3-pointer, driving layup. He gets some better defense, which isn't bad, but at the end of the day, he can't get clamps or quick first step, so I don't see him being too meta. But I will say, this James Worthy card is really good. So some people who are running James Worthy and they do like Magic, they'll probably run this duo together. And you know, it's not the craziest boost in the world, but perimeter defense does help, and a +3 ball to James Worthy is really good. And this James Worthy can get every badge in the game anyway, so I don't know. This is probably the best card that they dropped today, and just the best card, one of the best cards in the game. So if you do have Magic and you can fit him in, hide him on defense, that's probably a really, really good duo. But speaking of budgety cards and duos at the same time, this one right here, it's like it's 2K's listening. They're clearly listening. They know we love the Michael Cooper. They know we love the Byron Scott, and they do share the same position traditionally. I feel like most people run Byron Scott the shooting guard, not the point guard. But if you run Cooper at the 2 and Byron Scott at the 1, Byron Scott gets a 95 3-ball. He has great dribble moves. I'm pretty sure he can curry slide. He can get only clamps on defense, but then other than that, he can get every badge in the game. You can get range on him. He gets boosted draw foul. And then if you go to Cooper, who has that Hall of Fame clamps that people love, he gets a 3-point boost, mid-range boost, and pass perception. So definitely a really good budget duo. Highly recommend this one, especially if you like to cheese and score Byron Scott, do that curry slide. That's a perfect duo for not very much MT in the game right now. Now moving on to the next duo, let's check out the Kevin Durant Andre Iguodala. This is probably one of my favorites that came out today. Now, am I going to be running this duo? Probably not, unless I'm trying to make a Warriors lineup. But for Kevin Durant, he gets a 3-point boost here, mid-range boost, offensive rebounding 10 to driving dunks to 95. That's not terrible. But for Andre Iguodala, this card is already good already, especially if you found one like badged out and stuff, like catch and shoot, which I actually found one badged out and stuff. And 73 3-ball, nothing crazy. But with the duo, he gets an 81, gets a plus 8 to the mid range. It's still bad, but like good perimeter defense, good driving dunk. I mean, this, and speed with ball too, and ball control. Like, I don't know, Iguodala, this card's definitely a sleeper card, and if you did run this duo, you'd probably catch a lot of people off guard with how good this Andre Iguodala is. But on to the next duo. Let's see here. A lot of people do like the Bruce Bowen. He's very comparable to Michael Cooper and Robert Horry. I don't see many people running Robert Horry even after this duo here, but Bruce Bowen gets a 94 3-ball, plus 5 mid-range, 10 to the driving layup. Perimeter defense is a 99 defensive consistency. So this card's obviously locked down, absolutely locked down. And Robert Horry, here's the problem though. He's really slow, and I don't know. He'd be a good stretch 4, but he can't get any defense. He can't rebound the ball with rebound chaser. I don't know. It's gonna be pretty tough to sneak this guy into your lineup. But if you do, you're running a Spurs team, or you're just running a budgety squad, or I don't know, you're overall cheesing, might be a good duo. Now, speaking of overall cheesing, there was a duo here, I believe. Actually, hey, it's still the Spurs. I guess you could run all these cards together, maybe. Actually, no, you couldn't, because there's too many forwards. But speaking of Spurs players and just overall cheesing, you could definitely run this Danny Green, who's already a good shooter, with this Kawhi Leonard, who's surprisingly just a really good shooter too, even with the 73 ball. If you run this duo together, look at this. Danny Green gets good badges. Or not good badges. He has good defense, good 3-point shooting, a perfect 3-and-D player. And then Kawhi Leonard gets a 77 3-ball. He comes with shooting badges, and he just gets better defense. I don't know, just a good two really good 3-and-D players right here, and they're emeralds and sapphires. That this probably goes up to a sapphire. Kawhi probably goes up to a ruby. So you could definitely do some, budget balling, or just, I guess, overall cheesing, for lack of a better word, and unlimited with these two cards. Now, looking at just a couple more duos here that I think are just, people are actually going to use. Paul George, Danny Granger. Paul George does get the 3-point boost, perimeter defense, driving dunk. But Danny Granger, man, I don't know. This card looks good offensively, just no defense. I mean, if you run him, he does get the perimeter defense, and he gets, shooting boost and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't think this is going to be too popular of a duo, just because of the defensive liability that Danny Granger is. Now, oh, and another thing too, you got to run one of them at the power forward. So again, I don't think it's going to be that popular unless you run Paul George at the power forward. Now, Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning, this gives me 2K17 vibes right here. Actually, no, I think 2K, maybe it was last year. I think last year they had this duo, probably the year before. But the Diamond Larry Johnson on the Hornets gives me 2K17 vibes. And with this duo, this card was already really good, can get pretty much every badge in the game, including clamps and range. And with the duo, just this Larry Johnson is definitely going to be a sleeper card. Now, the speed problem with Alonzo, I guess he's 65, and just the ability to stretch the floor might be a problem with Alonzo Mourning. He does get the 90 mid-range. and a speed boost would be kind of nice there, but I don't know. This duo probably going to be slept on a little bit, especially if you can tolerate using this Alonzo Mourning. I don't really care about him not being able to shoot too well. This Larry Johnson will definitely light it up for you with the duo. Now, I think we're going to choose 2 more duos here, unless I decide to just edit out the ones that just aren't really worth it. The Steve Nash, Sean Marion. I know there's some people out there who love the Sean Marion. They swear by him. So with the duo, Steve Nash gets better shooting. He can't dunk. I thought maybe they'd give him some dunk or something, but he gets a little bit better defense. Still only a 68 steal, better ball handling, passing actually up to 98. And Sean Marion, this card gets a significant boost. 85 3 ball, 92 driving layup. He gets 92 mid-range, good, better rebounding, 80 defensive consistency. This card has messed me up before on Unlimited. It is a sleeper card, but that release I'm just not a fan of. Jump shot 39, ugh, not very good. But like I said, some people swear by this card, so they're gonna love this duo. And both those cards can clamp up on defense if badged out correctly. Now, let's see, Greg Oden. This one is definitely worth mentioning as well. Greg Oden, released today, has a 33 ball, and then when you duo him with Roy, it goes up to a 73. So that's definitely interesting. He can shoot a little bit, but he doesn't get any shooting badges. So I don't know how viable that's going to be. And Brandon Roy's still a defensive liability at the end of the day. Yeah, because he can't get clamps. I was gonna say they don't give him clamps. So I don't know. Still a defensive liability at the end of the day, but still a nice little boost to an already really good offensive card. And then for the last duo today that I think we're going to review, just because some of these just, in my opinion, aren't really worth going over. Like this one right here, just very expensive duo. You're never going to run these 2 cards together. I think for the last duo we're going to check out is the Chris Bosh, Shane Battier duo, just because this Chris Bosh is a very good budget card. Very, very good card. Very, very good. Very cheap Sapphire. And Shane Battier, unfortunately, doesn't come with defensive badges, because even though he was a really good defensive player, if he had clamps, this would be another very, very good overall cheese duo. You probably still can run this on an overall cheese team, just because they both get 80 like high 3 balls, and they both have good defense. I don't know. I think this is a really good duo. Very cheap. Both these cards very, very cheap, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're playing in the lower overalls to see this Chris Bosh and Shane Battier probably lighten up the 4 and 3 position, or 5 and 4, wherever you want to run Shane Battier. But with that being said, guys, if there's a duo here I didn't cover, again, the link to these will be in the comments or in the description. But I thought I'd just cover the main ones here that I saw most people practically using, because again, some of these just aren't very good and aren't very practical, in my opinion, unless you're just playing for the fun of it and not to play super competitive. But if you guys learned anything new today or enjoyed the video, go ahead, hit the like button, leave a comment below. It really does help me out. And if you're brand new, subscribe, because we do live stream every single day here on YouTube and Twitch, and upload pretty much every single day as well. So until next time, guys, peace out.